this next guest is really a pioneer. A huge influence on myself and so many young girls who grew up understanding that they could be proud of who they were, they could be fiercely talented, and still be the type of artist that you could play around your mom. It was an amazing, amazing time.
Yes, it was.
And I'm just honored to have this next guest here. I want y'all to give it up.
Wait. Now, usually we would have put the ladies first, right? Ooh, ladies first, ladies first. But it was a tale of three Maliks, so we had to put Monie in the middle.
Oh.
I had worked on that backstage.
He did not tell me ahead of time about that horrible joke. And I promise you I did not approve this. It did not go across my desk. I did not say this was okay.
We love Monie Love, and we want to introduce y'all to Monie Love.
Love, y'all give it up. Hey.
All right, I'm not a comic, Monie. I'm not a comic.
Please have a seat, my love.
Please have a seat.
It's the Kindred special show.
Yes. It is Kindred Presents. And we're so happy to have you. In fact, and we know you know about this hosting thing. We'll get into that later. But
Okay.
we know you know how to do this thing. So
Okay.
we have to make sure we do it right.
Yes.
No, can I just say this is awesome. This is like,
Thank you.
wow.
Well, thank you.
This is like, you know, I'm old, so I remember when Sonny and Cher got their special.
Yes.
Hey.
We like to think of ourselves more as like Ruby and Ossie. We don't want to think of Sonny and Cher, but we feel you. We feel you.
Marilyn McCoo.
You know what
Marilyn
meant.
McCoo and Billy Davis.
You know what I meant, though. You
Roberta and Donnie. Marvin.
70s baby stuff. You know how it goes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But Sonny and Cher did have a great show too. Yes.
You are, like I said, a pioneer in hip hop. Easily one of the most influential artists, hip hop artists, period, to come from the UK. But most certainly from the UK and be a woman as well. You have just repped on so many, many, many levels. I would love to know, like, before you even step foot on American soil, I need to know about a young Monie Love and who and how the hip hop scene was in the UK and how important
Because you was
were
already
about
big
this
in the
music.
UK
Yes,
before you even came over here.
just take me back to that time. Take me back to your first exposure to hip hop music and how it touched you.
All right. Well, first of all, in England, it's good to understand that the majority of the black population in England is either of Caribbean or African descent, like straight, like not. You know, there isn't a history of
black British.
Yeah, and even there isn't a history of like slavery in not saying that some of the British aristocracy back in the whatever century didn't have, you know, slaves, but it's different. Whereas in America, you can like trace ancestors to being slaves in certain areas of America on certain plantations and so on and so forth. Not so much in England. In England, the large black population really infiltrated England, I think, in the 50s when, was it King George V? I'm not going to get into that right now because that's a whole, you need to have...
Because somebody will correct you on the internet if you're wrong.
Always.
No, not even that. I'll get into British, you know, monarchy and hierarchy, and we'll be here all day. I'll have to get out the scones and the tea.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for that.
Exactly, so I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to say is a large influx of black folks from mainly the Caribbean at the time went over to England in the 50s after the Second World War to help restructure the country. And that was when my grandfather left Jamaica and went to England. And he had 10 children. Them used to have enough picnic back then, you know. He had 10 children, and the youngest 5 were the 5 that were eventually sent for, my mother being one of those, okay? And my father was also in the same thing with his family, and he went to England when he was young also. So my parents met in England as teenagers, married, had 2 children, my brother and I. Okay, so now that you got that straight. Growing up in England and the musical influences, you were either a reggae dub head where you followed something called a sound system, which was a soul to soul. Soul to soul was originally a sound system.
Like at the carnival, like with the big...
Exactly. They got the equipment, they got the big speakers, they have everything, they set up.
It's similar to New York back in the day, yeah.
Okay, like what Herc did when he came to exactly. So you either follow a sound system in England, or you can't help but be influenced by the pop, the 70s pop music and stuff like that. Take on me, you know, that type of stuff. You get influenced by that. Or you were something called a soul-ed, which we listened to things called rare grooves, we called them. And rare grooves are really your traditional soul stuff, your real soul music. In England, that's what we called rare grooves. So you were either a soul head, where you listen to soul music and rare grooves, or you were a reggae dub sound system person where you followed the Jamaican sound system. Come follow me, and all of that, okay? Now, my brother was a straight up red, gold, and green dub selector, reggae music, sound system, okay? Me, I was the soul head and the rare groove. So that got me into listening to break beats, okay? And then that got me interested in how the DJs in America at the time were starting to manipulate the break beats, okay? And in addition to that, in 1983, when a movie called Beat Street was released.
Oh, yes, we remember that movie, Beat Street.
I went
Beat
to
Street, the king of the beat.
Exactly. I went to the premiere of that movie and saw it in England at a place called Marble Arch Cinemas. And I went completely not dressed hip-hop. I had on a pink pleated skirt and you will never, Claudia.
Yeah, if we had that picture, we will put it up on. Monie, take a look. This is you. I'm just kidding.
No.
We found it.
No, because I have people in here that are an implanted part of my life personally. So that's why I looked, because I'm like, okay,
possible.
Who sold me out? Claudia. Anyway, so I was badly dressed to go to a hip-hop event, but I saw this movie, and I left that movie, and I never wore a skirt again in my life. Only once a year on my birthday.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever seen you in a skirt.
Once a year on my birthday.
We got to go back to your Instagram and see when you had the skirt
My birthday's July 2nd. Once a year on my birthday, it happens. I specifically will make sure that it doesn't happen this year because I sat here and said
because now we're going to be looking for it.
Yeah, because in
God
those days...
darn it.
All
We're
right.
scrolling back. We're scrolling back.
All right, so that's basically what happened. The movie in 1983, and then at that point, hip-hop was born in the UK because we didn't have it. We had reggae and we had soul music. That was it. Or pop music, you know what I mean? So at that point, hip-hop was born in England. So I would say about 1983, which honestly, in comparison to what was going on in the United States, I think we were about 8 to 10 years behind. Yeah. So people would leave England and go on holiday to New York and come back with cassette tapes. Does everybody know what a cassette tape is?
A couple of people out there know because they're of age.
Okay. Come back with cassette tapes with like 16th generation recordings of a Friday night mix show of Red Alert or Mr. Magic. And it would be eggs and bacon. But you could still hear the music of what was going on, and we would fight for those cassettes, or whoever was going on holiday. Yo, make me a tape, you know. So we would live for stuff like that. We would also save up all our money, and whoever was going to visit their family in Brooklyn, we'd give them our money and be like, get me some felines.
You know, they don't want a T-shirt. They want some felines.
Get me some felines, you know. Get me them Patrick Ewings with the blue and the orange.
The crazy part is that your entrance here is so young. I mean,
I actually moved here when I was 17, getting ready to turn 18. And by that time, I had already been bitten.
Caribbean parents, they
That's
let
the
you do
hip-hop
that.
age right there.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is
Hip
so
hop
dope.
page.
And by that time, I had already been bitten by the bug, like I just explained. I had a crew of my own. We were all kids. We'd go to the community center, put on our own shows. At that time, the record labels were sending scouts out to try and seek out the talent because they just heard about what's this thing going on in America with this rapping stuff. Is there any remnants of it here in England? And I got discovered by a scout from a rock label that knew nothing about hip hop because nobody did at the time. You know, it was still developing. I got signed to a label in England. I had a stream of songs out in England
was
already.
like, we need to find
this
us
is
one of these
before I
new
came
people.
here. Yeah, this is all 16 years old. I remember the first, you lot should have seen the first contract I got. It looked like, does anybody remember that old fax paper with the side that has the holes in it going all down? And you can peel it off.
You peel it off the side.
You know what I'm talking about? And
Yes.
then it comes out and folds itself over.
17,000 pages, I bet.
That's what
too.
my contract looked like. I showed it to my dad because I was 16. I couldn't sign any document by myself. I was too young. So I showed it to my dad. You should have seen his face. First of all, you have to picture my dad. He locks his to his feet. He
I
folds
seen
it.
a picture of your dad the other day for Father's Day.
I gave it to my
You
dad.
look like
My
one of
dad-
the members of Third World.
15, listen. My dad looked at it and said, "Oh, what kind of stupidness is this? Oh, what kind of, this don't look right. This look like some rubbish what me use for wipe my body. How it is?" Right? My dad was like, so needless to say that, you know, they had to come correct with a proper legal document,
Right.
you know, and then my parents signed it and they trusted me and they were like, you know, we know.
Because they weren't here. They were still over.
Yeah, we're
overseas.
all in
It's
England.
all in
We're
England
all
at this
in
point.
England. My dad's parents lived in Brooklyn.
Ah.
Yeah, on Flatbush. Where else?
Where else?
But yeah, my dad's parents was here. My mother's parents were in England, you know, because they sent for her or whatever. But my dad's parents came here. And I used to always ask my dad, why didn't you, because once I got so involved in hip hop and I knew what I wanted to do and I knew I wanted to move here, I said to my dad, you could have made this so much easier for me. Why didn't you move
And come on
To
over.
New York.
with where your parents lived? His sister came, his two sisters came, and his brother came. Why didn't you? And he said,
What is this?
Mina, that's the first thing.
Well, first of all, that's the, if your parents are from the Caribbean or your parents
You
are
all
from
do that?
Africa, that everything they say is prefaced with that.
First thing, right? Me nah go in a country where them push you in a plane for go fight. Where me a fight for? Me nah go to Vietnam. Me nah go in America. It's not America. It's, my dad says it's America. It's
Well, now it's
not
that's
America.
affectionately what we all call it now. America, America.
Yeah, but my dad is super. My dad was super militant. He fed me a lot of. One of the first books I read was actually Soul on Ice. Was one of the first books
Soul
I
on
read.
Ice, okay.
I was 13. The biography of Malcolm X.
You got to have that.
I read. These are all books that my dad gave me for nourishment.
Yeah, it's like if you were born in the 70s, you had like your revolutionary like education packet
Yes.
that your parents would
yes,
give you.
Yes.
You had like, you know, Carter G. Woodson, you had your autobiography of Malcolm X.
Absolutely. I even remember one of the ones that stuck out in my head the most out of everything. I mean, they're all important books. But for the life of me, I just couldn't stop actually visualizing George Jackson's Soledad brother, The Prison Letters. I read that and I was thrusted into the courtroom when he was sitting there chained up. Like I was actually there. Like some really powerful books. And I say all of this not to go off topic, but these are all important things in understanding me before I came to this country.
Exactly.
And what was in my head and like the things that I had been fed. Because these are things that pour themselves out into the artistry. You know, that's why you see me and Latifah come out with a song called Ladies First.
I'm
with all of
glad
that
you
stuff.
mentioned that because we have to get into that.
Because, and we've discussed this before, the visual of that particular video is so powerful.
That's some powerful
I
imagery
remember the
right
first
there.
time ever
yes.
seeing that video. I never seen anything like it. For me, as a young girl, look at this, yo.
No, it's the pictures in the
I hate
beginning. It's the pictures of
pictures
Sojourner
and
Truth and Harriet Tubman and all of that.
I look like a Pillsbury Doughboy.
This is my favorite part.
No, you don't.
When she takes the little men and shoves them off the table and then replaces it with a fist.
Well, you know,
Cut that.
Listen,
Elise.
Fab Five Freddy directed that video.
Did he?
Yes.
Fab Five Freddy, we just recently met Fab
I
Five
told
Freddy.
him.
He directed a lot of quintessential
Yes.
videos in hip hop.
Fab Five
That's
Freddy,
interesting.
yes, Fab Five Freddy directed that video, and I remember I was on tour with Latifah at the time, and we were in Europe, we were in Germany, when Tommy Boy, which was her label, was discussing what the video treatment for that song should be, because the video had not been done yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that Fab Five Freddy was going to be directing it, and
So was he already, was Yo MTV Raps already?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was already going there.
Yeah, so somebody else came with the treatment. I don't remember what the treatment was, but we read it. We were in a hotel in Germany on the European leg of a tour that Latifah was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked at the treatment, and Latifah was like, this isn't quite what I want to bring to light with Ladies First. So her manager, Shakim, herself, and myself sat on the floor. We're all 17-year-olds, and we got pieces of paper out and pens, and we wrote. We was like, what do you think? And I'm like, well, you know, I'm the Brit out of everybody. So have you ever watched any of those old British war movies with the stuffy captains, with their long stick and the strategic board, and the, yes, we should move this tank to the south border, you know? I visualized that, and I was like, that would be really good if we could do like a strategic board, like how the old generals in those old stuffy war movies would do, but instead of tanks, like put fists for everywhere where we're dominating as women and blah, 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 blah. And Latifah was like, yo, that's dope, Mo.
That was some
she's
vision
so
shit
Jersey.
right there.
She's so Jersey. Oh, my God. She's like, yo, that's dope, Mo. So we did that, and then she came up with the idea to when you're in your old classrooms and the projector board, and it would make that cranky noise every time the teacher changes the picture. When it changes the picture. So she was like, that needs to be there, the pictures need to be there, the types of women that need to be pictured.
It was burning the images into your mind.
Yeah.
Burning those
But
images.
when I think
very
about it,
powerful.
we were
Guys,
17. We were 17-year-old kids
That's
on the
crazy.
floor.
That's some of the best times of your life. Some of the best creative things come from youth, just from being young. And that's why we got to listen to the kids these days. We got to listen to these kids and give them an opportunity to be heard, because they have great ideas. Jazz music, all of the great musics came from young people. It was them on the forefront of hip hop.
Do you know we didn't realize what we would do?
You ain't supposed to realize it. You were supposed to be in the moment. You can't, if you think you're an icon or you think you're doing iconic shit, then you start thinking crazy. You just got to flow with it from your heart, and then people got to accept it.
But I mean, I've mentioned this before, that it doesn't even matter if you didn't know. The bottom line is that you changed the game for all of us. For us to be able to look and see that, I mean, even looking back at it now, it's like emotional for me, because I'm like, I changed how I dressed. I changed how I did my hair. I changed everything about how I was going to be, because I was like, look, whatever army they in, I'm trying to be in that army. I want to be about that.
You should have been a fly on the wall in the studio. We were so, like, she was sitting like where you're sitting, and I was sitting like right there, and I'd write maybe 4 lines, not even, and I'd get so excited about the 4 lines that I just wrote, and I'd be like, yo, listen to this. And I'd say whatever the 4 lines were. She'd be like, yo, that's dope. Listen to this. And then she'd kick me her little 4, and we kept doing that all night until we finished the song.
I got a question to ask about the lyrics of the song, because you are a Brit, and in the song you say, I'm first because I'm a L-A-D-I-E.
Why? Why must we do this? Why? Why must we do this?
Because I just, like, that's not really
It was a
correct.
spell check moment, okay? A lady, oh goodness, it's a spoon.
Nobody
of some sort.
said that to you, though?
No, nobody said anything, and it fit. So let's next.
It fit, and it's good.
See, I can't stand when people nitpick. You know what I'm saying?
It's not about a nitpick. I'm just, if it was Google these days, somebody would say something.
But you were talking about how you guys didn't
That's like
know.
a spell check moment on Instagram where the person just can't read your post.
Yeah,
They have to
I
put
hate
something
that
in it.
shit,
Oh,
too.
well, maybe if you could spell blah, blah, blah.
Well, rap
Like, I was
sometimes does
typing
that. Rap
fast.
does that.
I mean, knowing
It's
now
a
that you were,
humorous moment.
knowing now that you were 17 years old, that gives a lot of perspective on that moment, of course. But I do think this is so great. I wonder, where did the influence from your like really syncopated style come from? Because you're saying at one point you guys are just experimenting, but like the speed of your rapping and the way that your style is, I mean, it's influenced a lot of other rappers. Like, where did that come from? Were you emulating someone, or?
You guys know me just on a personal level, and you know that when I'm excited and passionate about something, I'm extremely eloquent in speech. I need you to hear me pronounce every letter from the beginning of a word to the end of it. You know me, okay? Always been that way. I was my best subject at school. I went to Catholic school in England. Everything was strict. Everything was, calligraphy and all this other stuff. And I excelled in English literature, poetry, language, these types of things. So I'm a lover of words. And I say a lot of them. And I needed to speed my rap up so I could squeeze more words.
Bone Thugs before Bone Thugs.
Yeah, that was really how I came up with my styles, because I have a lot to say. I am not going to sacrifice any of these sentences. I'm not going to find an easier way to say it. I'm not going to find one word that incorporates four. No, I'm going to say all four because I want to, and I'm going to squeeze them all in this bar. So in order for me to do that, I have to speed up the pace in which I'm saying them.
Right.
And that's how that came about.
You're a beautiful woman. And a lot of
thank
women
you
in
from another
hip-hop,
beautiful woman.
beautiful, haven't aged a bit. You look fantastic.
I'll tell that to my knees.
Yeah,
They
you
got
look
more
like you
crack
just did
than
the
Harlem.
video yesterday.
But, a lot of...
You heard me? You said I didn't age, right?
Look at
I said, tell that to them.
Well, yeah.
Because they got more crack than Harlem.
But we can't see your knees.
We can't see that
can't talk
part.
about your knees.
Unless you drop it like it's hot, we don't know.
And don't get back up again.
A lot of women in hip-hop feel a lot of pressure to kind of, especially if they're beautiful, to reinvent themselves at some point, to let us know, yeah, I'm a girl, I'm sexy,
super
this is
sexy.
another. You've never done, thank you, by the way, for never having done this, but was there a reason why you never did
Yes.
that?
Because where I come from, this is the one part I forgot to tell you in the earlier part, I'm a B-girl. I come from spinning on my back and spinning on my head and doing swipes and top rocking and all this other stuff. And that's something I cannot kick to the curb. I'm a B-girl originally. It's organic. So, I have my moments, I've been seen in an Oscar de la Renta hall to top,
On your birthday. Only on your birthday.
On my birthday. Okay.
mean,
This is me. I'm comfortable with my own authenticity. That's really what it is. And I appreciate what everybody else does. And I love giving compliments to my beautiful sisters that choose other routes, you know what I'm saying, as far as visual. But for me, I'm going to do me.
I apologize, babe. But I just want to go here next, though. You talked about you're a B-girl, and you're very much a proponent for respect and understanding the history and the beginnings of hip-hop. And you got into a pretty heated discussion when you were here on the radio, at one,
Because everybody knows you're also a radio
huge
DJ.
personality here on the radio in Philadelphia.
Well, liar.
Yes.
Laya's not here tonight. But
She's not here tonight, but say what's up to her. Maybe she's watching.
She made it go viral. Yeah.
Well, you got into a pretty heated conversation with Young Jeezy about whether or not hip-hop was dead. And you could tell us about that if you guys ever resolved it. But I think it's very ironic that now even his style, that now quote-unquote mumble rap has come in. And now I'm pretty sure he probably feels very similarly to the way you felt at the time that you were interviewing him.
Because the shit just keeps evolving and evolving. But yeah.
Yes, indeed. But did you guys ever resolve that issue?
Not so unsmart he's not. You know what I'm saying? Because I never consider myself to be a know-it-all. I know everything. I don't. I'm still learning every day. But each one of us here in this room, there's always something organically that in your heart you're going to know to be an out-and-out truth. Period. End. Like, there's always that thing that you know, man, this is going to play out like this. I'm not trying to be a bully in telling you now how many years before, but it's going to, you see, I'm sorry that we had that disagreement on the air, first of all. I'd like to say that. So, you know.
But disagreements can be good, too.
No, but if Jeezy sees this, I'm sorry that we had that disagreement. But I was never trying to be disrespectful to the brother. All I was trying to do was allow each of us to be heard in whatever stance it was on the topic that we were taking. And I have a tendency, I think, when I'm passionate about something and I'm actually keen on getting into debate, it might be with a person that's not so keen on debating. They just want to say their point and that be it.
And
you
he
know what I'm saying?
specifically felt attacked when you said, you know, hip hop is dead. But I felt your explanation for it was completely understandable.
But he didn't listen to my explanation. He didn't listen to my explanation, which is really what I was trying to get him to do. Because I kept saying, I understand, my brother, but listen to what I'm trying to explain to you. I kept saying that. If you pull it up, you will see me continuously saying, let me explain, my brother. He didn't want to hear at the time, he didn't want to hear my explanation for it. And my explanation was, just to remind everybody, when something is living, the entirety of it is living. You can't have something that's living unless it's a zombie. You can't have something that's living if it's dead. You know what I'm saying? And everything. My foot needs to be alive. My arm needs to be alive. Everything, so that my whole self can be alive and walking and talking and all the rest of it. Hip-hop has so many areas. It's not just about one thing. And this is what I was trying to explain to him. It's about street life. Yep, it is. Okay? It's about party time, kicking it, silliness, having fun, kid and play. Yep. It's about, you know, 911's a joke, fight the power, do all the rest of, you know, political. It's about that too. Yep. It's about, it's the daisy age, la la la,
The
la
native
la
tongue
la,
family,
potholes in my lawn. It's about that too. Mm-hmm. All of those things need to be working at the same time for hip hop to be alive.
I need love.
I need love, exactly. So that's what I'm trying to say. All of those things, if you have something that is...
All of the sectors of the community need to be available.
Yes.
And
Otherwise, it is dead. The whole idea of it is dead. If there's only one political party that is running and ruling everything and shoving their opinions down everybody else's throat, then democracy is dead.
Amen.
We got a lot to cover with these guests that we've had on the program tonight, and we do realize that each one of them actually could have been a full show. And I hate to push them along when they are speaking about things that we really want to hear about and know about, but we do know we have a time limit.
No problem.
And we want to make sure we get in as much with you as possible.
I'll come back next time, Fatine, and next time I'll cook scones on stage.
We like that. We got to get a better budget for you to be cooking up here on the stage. But
there you go.
God willing, we're going to get to that.
But I want a black British scone. I want a jerk scone.
Yeah.
I want a mixture between dad and the Brit. I want all that.
A scone with jerk jelly.
Oh. Yes. Okay. Oh, shit.
I'm here for it.
I wanted to say this. You know, you're a hip hop icon, but you have a relatively small catalog. And the music that you've been a part of is extremely influential on the entire universe. Much like Lauryn Hill, who just has like 2 projects that most people know. But when you think of female MCs, you think of Lauryn Hill.
Amazing.
And that's amazing, and it's a testament to timeless material that you created at a very young age. But you also were a part of some major projects that some may not remember or some may remember, who of course follow you very strongly. Whitney Houston's My Name Is Not Susan, you were the featured MC
That was
on
fun.
that record in that video. huge record.
She's so hood, yo.
Oh, she's from Newark.
Now
New
we
Jersey.
know.
Oh my God.
We didn't know
They were
then, but
hiding
now
her
we know.
hood from us for a very long time, but it eventually came out.
I had no idea.
Yes.
It was like.
And you also worked with Prince. A lot of the performers and artists who have come on the stage, you work with Prince, quite a bit, actually. A lot of the performers, people always tell us Prince stories on the show, and so we felt it's only necessary that we get a Prince story from Monie
I
Love.
don't know if my story is going to be up to par with probably everybody else.
We need it to be up to par with everybody else's. I'm sure it is, though.
The connection is we're both signed to Warner Brothers Records, okay? As an artist, Prince is signed there. I'm signed at Warner Brothers. All right. He had an artist, a protege named Carmen Electra that he wanted to do a rap album for.
Yes.
So he liked my style of what I did, so he went to Benny Medina and the powers that be in Warner's and was like, can we have Monie write for Carmen Electra for her album? So I wrote Carmen Electra's first album, that rap album she did. Okay, so there's the connection. So I had to fly out to Paisley Park. I thought it was going to be for about 3 weeks to work. Now, I had just had a baby, and she was like 8 months or something like that. And she's the one, if anybody follows me on Instagram, my grandbaby that I post all the time. Mm-hmm. Oh God,
Cutie
he's
pie.
so fat. Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, that daughter was the one that was a baby, the one that just gave me my grandson. Okay, so to give you some perspective. So I get out there, I start writing, everything, it starts early. Everything, you have to be at the studio at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? So I'm out there, my husband's in the hotel, I'm at the hotel, my baby daughter's at the hotel. Prince sends a car to the hotel for me every day to come, which is steps away from Paisley Park, to come to Paisley Park. He takes me around, he shows me the whole building, shows me the stage rooms where he does his videos. He has a designer room, he has tailors. They make his clothes in the building, with mannequins and tape and stuff in there. Okay.
The Emperor's new clothes, yes.
So then he's like, what do you like for breakfast?
Pancakes.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes! And I didn't know that pancakes was like a thing until I saw the skit on Dave Chappelle, and I was like, it wasn't just me. Because he makes me pancakes every morning and sits it there. There's a glass thing with flowers in it and the pancakes.
Wait. Prince personally made these
Yes!
pancakes. He's got people making his clothes, but he's making the pancakes?
And I was like, you do understand me where I'm totally out of my mind, right? Because I know you all are like, what? Yes. And then he's still Prince. Like,
So basically what you're saying is his hair is immaculate while he's making you the pancakes.
And he's done. He's done. Every day, but he puts the pancakes down on the table, then sits down, and then pushes
Did he eat the pancakes?
He pushes the fork towards me, does his face like this, doesn't eat, and says, how are they?
How were they? Were they a fluffy, fantastic?
They were fluffy and good every day. Every day. He's like, I didn't understand it. It didn't correlate to me, And then after that, it's to business. We go in the studio, and then there's the yellow guitar, and there's the one guitar like that. They're on stands, like they have lives of their own. And, and it's to work. And then during the time, I thought it was going to be about 3 weeks, but during the time, he had a string of shows at Earl's Court in London. So I'm thinking, okay, we'll get a break. I'll go home with my baby and my husband, and then we'll reconvene when he gets back. Prince flew his entire band and me and my husband and my baby out to London, put us in the same hotel as him for his shows at Earl's Court. And then one day he called me on the phone in my hotel room, and he was talking to me, and then he was like, you should probably put the baby to sleep now. I I looked to where my room was, the hotel was an L, and he was right there.
Oh my God. Slightly creepy, but it was
not.
Prince. We'll let it ride.
Creepy.
That wouldn't be the first creepy story that we
Creepy,
heard
but
about
not.
that.
He's just eccentric, but it was never intrusional.
Yeah.
Like he took my baby on stage with him one night at Earl's Court. Like he's like Mr. Uncle, but he's still Prince. It was weird, you know.
Wow.
He pulled up in his BMW to go to the show, and he opened the door, but there was white fur on the floor in the car. So I stood there because I didn't know what to do. And he's sitting in the back seat looking at me, and he's like, "Are you going to get in because it's cold?" And I'm like, "But I've got shoes on, and it's white fur." He was like, "Get in the car and shut the door."
Sometimes
thing-
these are the greatest interviews.
Yeah, the wonderful thing is that, like I said, we've had a lot of stories about Prince, and he's done some really amazing things, from the amazing to the mundane, really. There are people who had just chance encounters with him, and people who he's changed their lives, done amazing things for them. So it really is wonderful to hear these stories about him now that he's gone. But just to know he's
the one
touched
thing
so
that
many.
I did learn from him, though, in that time of working with him as an artist, is to always believe in the authenticity of the organics of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Trust it and believe in it. And this is the type stuff that he used to punch the board when I'm in the vocal booth. He would punch it and say that, believe in the authenticity. Believe in the organics.
I think we're going to carry that forward. I like that very much.
I think that's pretty powerful.
Monie's now in Indianapolis. You're on the radio there, correct?
No.
You're not on the radio in
No,
Indianapolis.
not anymore, no.
So you were on the radio in Atlanta with the Ed Lover Show.
Right.
You've been on the radio in XM. Of course,
Right.
You've been on the radio in Philly. Outside of, chilling at the house and taking care of the grandkids.
I finally have my memoirs coming in October of this year.
Yes.
Well, we'll be on the lookout for that.
So-
Ladies and
I'm
gentlemen,
also cutting grass.
You what?
If I'm also cutting grass, if you need your grass cut.
I'm also cutting grass.
Cutting grass?
Grass. Grass.
Well,
Yes,
look,
indeed.
we barely scratched the surface on the questions that we really wanted to ask you. And God willing, when a person has a career like yours and so many stories to tell, sometimes it's very hard to fit it all into a short period of time.
I'll be back.
But God willing, we'll be
Please.
back very soon. And we would love to give the people a classic Monie Love record
Yes, indeed.
before you go. And you'll be back here in the Philadelphia area soon with the...
Oh,
For the
yes,
Lady B
with the
event.
Lady B's
with
basement
the
party
guy-
anniversary.
Yes.
what date is that
Absolutely.
anniversary? Do we know the date?
It's August 19th.
It's at the Dell, correct?
19th, yes.
Dave, is that
yes,
the Dell?
yes,
Where's Dave?
Yes,
It's at the Dell and Chubb Rock.
yes
and
me,
Kwame,
Chubb, Kwame, Special Ed, Dana. It's going to
Yes.
be so much fun.
Lady B's.
It'll be off the chain. I've seen this woman perform.
Yes, it's
She's
going
off
to be
the
incredible.
hook. Y'all need to check
so
it out.
y'all come back out for that. Check her out. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Monie Love.
Monie Love!
All right, Monie.
Oh, thank you. That was quite on the spot. I am at the mercy of Mario, Harry, Rodney, and Sean. So basically, it's whatever you lot want to do. Okay, I can do this. And here we go. Okay. Okay. So Monie in the middle it is, right? Yeah? Okay. All right, here we go. Brother, what is with you? You can't take a hint. I need to shove a sweet between your eyes for you to see you and me were never meant to be. Your homeboy likes me. I like him too. Get out the picture. I get your point, but I'm not rolling with a punch. I scrunched up the letter. You wrote me in lunch. If fish period, I make no notice the emotion. My work is on the table. My pain's a locomotion. Every time I turn around, you're looking in my face. I try to ignore you. The bell rings. I race out the room. Zoom to another room. Sit down. What do you know? The lover's in town. The other brother, who? The one I was to talk to, sitting 3 seats back, and I'ma walk over to him and give him the letter I wrote, because my feelings towards him are brewing, you know? Monie in the middle, yeah? Monie in the middle, the middle, Monie in the middle, in the middle, go, Mo, where is she? Monie in the middle, Monie in the middle, yeah, Monie in the middle, Monie in the middle, in the middle. In seventh, the knucklehead walks in and sits down beside me. I said, yo, why you trying to ride me? Day in, day out, I can't seem to get you off my back. What do y'all think that I should do about that? In fact, it's embarrassing. What a buffoon. He even follows me in the ladies' bathroom. Give me a break, I can't take it. The stakes are too high. Besides, there goes the other brother. I'm not Keith Sweat, so don't sweat me. The other brother's smooth approach is what gets me. He intrigues the more you know, so I suggest the course towards me you blow. You're wasting time pursuing Monie, cause she's pursuing the lover only. And that's my mother, dear, she told me. Go for what you know, Mo. Yo, Monie in the middle. In the middle, yeah, Monie in the middle. In the middle, Monie in the middle. In the middle. Monie in the middle. Monie in the middle. In the middle, yeah, Monie in the middle. In the middle, Monie in the middle. In the middle. All right, over here is my man on the keyboards. Goes by the name of Sean. Say hi to Sean, everybody. Hey. Right here. Say what up to my man Rodney. Go Rodney. All right. Moving right along to my main man Harry. Say what's up, Harry. Let me move over here so you can get a good look at my man Mario. Go ahead, Mario. Bringing matters to a close, and everybody knows that I'm no longer in the middle. I made my decision precisely. Precision is a must for me to solve another riddle. Step into a brand new rhythm and some schisms. No, I'm not with him. I give him my undivided attention. You dig what I'm saying? No type of games I'm playing with Monie in the middle. In the middle, yeah, Monie in the middle. In the middle, Monie in the middle. In the middle, Monie in the middle. Monie in the middle. In the middle, yeah, Monie in the middle. In the middle, Monie in the middle. In the middle. Monie in the Monie in the Monie in the middle. Monie in the Monie in the Monie in the middle. Monie in the Monie in the Monie in the middle. The middle, 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 the middle. Monie in the middle, in the middle. Monie in the middle, in the middle.
Yeah!
Love, ladies and gentlemen.
Classic material right there. Shout out to the Native Tongue family.
Y'all give it up for Monie Love.
Yeah.